Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew Shang, and I'm introducing today's Georgetown Conversations for the Georgetown Institute of Open and Advanced Studies at the Wawasan Open University in Penang. We're very fortunate today to have one of the leading experts in the electrical and electronics industry in Malaysia, Dato Seri Wong Siew, who has 29 years of working experience in the electronic industry. He spent his illustrious career with Intel in Penang, and he was Vice President of Technology and Manufacturing Group and General Manager of the Assembly and Test Manufacturing, responsible for all the assembly test factories worldwide. So his experience is not just in Malaysia, but worldwide. And he was also Vice President and Managing Director of Dell's Asia Pacific Customer Center for approximately 2 years. Now, not only has he got extreme depth in this industry, he is the chairman of the Malaysian American Electronics Industry, AmCham, and champion of the Electrical and Electronic Productivity Nexus. So he's a board member of the Penang Tech Center and Penang Science Cluster. Now, he also devotes a lot of his time for education and helping developing the industry, especially the understanding of the importance of the electronic industry in Malaysia. He was a former board member of Kuitho, which is the College University Technology of Tun Hussein On, and former adjunct professor at MMU engineering faculty. So let me welcome you, Dato Seri, and I believe you have a lecture to share with us. After that, we'll have a nice conversation about the industry itself. Thank you very much indeed. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Thanks Andrew, for your kind introduction. I will share the presentation today on the E&E industry in Malaysia. I will share the contributions of E&E industry, the kind of initiatives they have taken under E&E Productivity Nexus, and the way forward. First of all, let's look at the contributions of E&E industry in Malaysia. It has an exports of 38% of total export. It contributes 6.3% to national GDP and has an employment of 560,000 people. And if you look at the other dimensions of the contribution, it has transferred knowledge and technology to Malaysia. Global supply chain management has become a very significant competency in the country. Last time we only do production planning, and now we have the whole supply chain management, including pricing and getting direct materials. We have global business services. We also have transferred design and development capabilities and have global and regional leadership. Malaysians are capable today to lead global operations and regional operations. Let's look at our Malaysia's E&E ecosystem. I've listed down here from design, wafer fab, assembly test, production, manufacturing, product manufacturing, and so on. But what it shows here is that the ones in black is basically companies, MNCs from overseas. The ones in blue are our Malaysian companies. If you look at every column, is all in black, which means that mainly MNCs. The only area that we are significant is automation, precision engineering, and some engineering services, okay, where they are in blue. So this is our area of development from the E&E industry through the last more than 40 years. If you look at the environment, there are emerging technologies like in 5G, 6G, IoT, deep learning, and so on, AI, and so on. And global talents basically the war on global talents continue to intensify. And we have the impact of US-China trade war that is impacting us. Now, will that improve with President Biden? We'll have to wait and see, okay? Short term, manufacturers are all diverting their manufacturing. Mid-term, they are trying to mitigate the problem by having manufacturing capabilities outside of their current capability. If they are in Malaysia, they want someone outside of Malaysia. If they are in Philippines, they want manufacturing capability outside of that country. So that is what is going on today. And the longer term, we think that there will be a decoupling, basically, in the way things are happening in terms of global supply chain. Winners, we think, are Vietnam and Taiwan, and Malaysia benefited some. Okay. Now, COVID-19, most people are now working from home. Will there a vaccine in 2021? If so, it will change, how the operations will evolve. Now, where is Malaysia's E&E industry? Look at this study from the Belfer Center, Harvard Kennedy School. It shows that the value from design development, front-end manufacturing, and back-end manufacturing, it shows that the design development contributes 45% of the value, or the final chip value, the front-end manufacturing 45%, and the back-end assembly, test, and packaging 10%. If you look at the analysis of the country, look at Malaysia from this chart, from this table, you'll see that we are very strong and leading actually in back-end manufacturing, assembly, test, and packaging. That's 10% of the value. All the other areas are not highlighted, whether it is front-end or design development, it did not show up, okay? Now, so from the E&E Productivity Nexus perspective, we have been looking at this problem for quite some time, and we have come up with this Vision 2025 to be a leading E&E industry engine of the world. Now, today we are only recognized at the assembly and test and packaging, okay? Where we are significant. All the rest, not significant. So we have come up with a few areas, unlock the potential of contributions from the E&E MNCs, nurture local companies with global champions, build talent and leadership development, which is a must, and enable and forge a robust E&E ecosystem. And last but not least, we need the government to play their role to have friendly policies that promote E&E growth. So if you look at this, under the current system that we have, under the key strategies in 2019 and 2020 that we've been working on, we were working on enhancing higher value-added activities, nurture talent again, creating value towards Industry 4.0, and strengthening the SME development. Now, during the COVID MCO days and after in July, when the MCO was relaxed and they start opening up, we did few things. One, we did a business virtual advisory service. First of all, we did a 3-series webinar, then followed by E&E virtual advisory clinics, which is one-on-one coaching to SMEs. And then we have a mentoring for Industry 4.0. And at the same time, we will have a virtual marketplace that will take the companies to the world, promote the Malaysian E&E companies to the world. I will cover that in a little while. So in the webinars, the 3 series, we have more than 1,000 people participated. We have about 20 people from 20 over countries participated. And I think it was very successful. That talks about how do we recover from the recover to a new normal, and then what should we do, and how can we seize the opportunity. So these are the 3 webinars. That's followed by the E&E virtual advisory clinic, where only 17 companies signed up, and we had a one-on-one advisory sessions with them. The 3 top issues that came up were market access, financial assistance, and digitalization. Then we had then we decided that we should do a virtual marketplace portal to promote Malaysian E&E companies. And at first I tried to get funding from the government, but it didn't work out. And so I decided to go to industry for help. And 27 companies sponsored this project. The idea of this project is that is to give the local companies market access. They came back and told me that, hey, I need market access. I cannot just rely on Malaysian market. And now with the COVID-19, travel is restricted. It makes it even harder. So what we decided to do was to develop a virtual marketplace for our Malaysian companies so they can reach out to the world through this marketplace portal. And we call it E&E Marketplace Malaysia. That we expect to go live end of November. Then we also look at nurturing, incubating companies in Industry 4.0. We have Plugfest, where we train SMEs in how to apply Industry 4.0, such as Internet of Things and AI-based machine vision system. We also have hackathon that we also do for universities to showcase how can they develop solutions to industry problems. We have done that through the whole country, and the last one we did was in Sarawak. Not only that, we need to collaborate more with other centers to promote the Industry 4.0. So we established a network of Industry 4.0 technology centers all over the country to help us promote and to train and to advise companies who need help in Industry 4.0. We also have many programs, including one that we do with University of Aachen, or Aachen University of Germany, which is, I was told, equivalent to MIT of Europe. It's called the MIT of Europe. They give classes and training, much more in-depth training, especially in engineering and programming. We also held a regional conference to promote and share the work of Industry 4.0 done by the academia from many countries. 5 countries participated in this in the regional conference. Then we also start looking at how can we help our local companies. We promote buy Malaysian local products, and we are asking most of the MNCs and LLCs, large local companies, to look at the Inari waterfall effect, we call it. This waterfall effect is that the companies, the large companies or the MNCs, will buy equipments and solutions from our Malaysian companies. So over the last 5 years, for example, Inari has spent hundreds of millions of ringgit buying automated equipments, inspection equipments, and so on, tooling from our local companies. It's shown here that they buy from companies like SRM, they buy from Vitrox, they buy from Woftech, they buy from MI, so many of them that they have purchased equipments from. That's what we are trying to advocate, more companies in Malaysia to do that. And then we try to work with universities to incorporate some of our programs and things that we think the students should know into the curriculum. We have worked with the Ministry of Higher Education, and so far we have 7 universities sign up, and 5 says that they will incorporate them in their curriculum sometime this year. Okay, and 2 of them says that they will incorporate all our modules, and the others will look at some of the modules. The other thing that we think is also very important to help our SMEs and Malaysian companies is to establish the NCER Technology Innovation Center. And this center, when it is set up, it is supposed to help up the startup companies, get them how to commercialize, help in technology acquisition and innovation. This is similar to the model of E3 in Taiwan. So that we hope will get established sometime next year. So basically, where our strength in diversified manufacturing, from semicon, assembly test, storage, EMS, medical device, LED, solar, and so on. We also have global business services as a spin-off, I could call it, as a result of manufacturing being in Malaysia. And Automation is the other strength that we have. As you can see just now, I showed you the all the blue companies. They are mainly in automation and precision engineering. What are the areas that we have, but they are not significant? We have IC design, embedded system, design development, industrial software, AI, 5G. We have some, but not significant. And what we don't have, we do not have the ability to design vision cameras that we use, robotic arms, SMT equipments where we use widely, fab equipments, bonders, many direct materials for semicon and for E&E manufacturing. We don't have. Okay, so then I will answer what do we do later. But meanwhile, in order for us to move forward in Malaysia, we need to have a holistic manpower planning for the industry. We need to encourage more students to pursue science and engineering. You know, Malaysia wants to be a country of innovation, but without science and engineering, it's going to be very difficult. Now, one of the strategy many countries are using, like in US, China, Singapore, they use other people's talent. They use it very well. In China, they have this China 10,000 Talents program where they attracted 7,000 high-end professionals to return to China over the 10-year period. And last year, they attracted 300 senior engineers from Taiwan into China. Singapore used our talent starting all the way from standard 6, Form 3, Form 5, Form 6, and even after university, they still attract our talent overseas. And in the US, if you look at the number of talent overseas that help them in innovation is more than 40%. Okay, so what should we do? We then now need to double down on where we are successful, that is attract FDI and grow DDI, and we need to establish automation hub, okay, where we are already very strong, but we need to make it as a global automation hub. And what is the way forward? We continue with the strong state-of-the-art manufacturing. We got to grow IC design, embedded systems design. We got to attract FDI in software and then grow our local capabilities. Attract FDIs in wafer fabs to complete our ecosystem, and also grow a strong medical device industry where it is a growth industry. We need to improve on our E&E supply chain and supply talent through our holistic human resource strategy. So that's the way forward that we are all recommending. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dato Sri. This was a superb presentation. It gives a very good overview. You know, the E&E industry is so important in Malaysia. It started in the late 60s. In fact, you know, it took off, as you know, after 71. And it's today, as you said, 38% of Malaysia's exports. And for Penang, it's about 36% of, you know, Penang's exports. And so major contributor to Penang's labor force. And a lot of it is at a high end because a lot of them are engineers, right? So I would really like to thank you for your contribution, your leadership, and your vision, you know, in driving this. It's very clear to me that based upon my appreciation of how Silicon Valley works, is that talent is everything, right? If you have great universities, you know, super professors and their research assistants who then form, and their students form you, the industry's research workers, engineers, you know, and talent needs. This is very critical. So it's not that as you show, it's not that Malaysia doesn't have already a very good base, and then we have strengths in certain areas. We're not big enough to cover everything, but if we develop that talent base, as you say, right, we can develop our SMEs. It will make major changes to the industry because we just need to move up the knowledge curve, move up the value-added curve, right? And then lift the quality of our labor from just the what used to be thought as, oh, just assembly, but now moving into highly skilled and highly knowledge input services. So what do you think, the universities can do in this regard?
I think the university still have quite a long way to go to help the industry. But to be fair, they have also produced top talents. We have talents in Malaysia who graduated from engineering school from local universities, and they are producing intellectual property, IPs. So that, I think we have one end, really good, but it's not enough. But if you look at the whole spectrum, top end, excellent. Middle, suitable for manufacturing, maybe maintenance kind of engineering. And then we have the bottom end, which the industry do not want to hire. Compounded to this, the number of students studying science and engineering has dropped from our time, 60% down to about 30%. And not counting the amount of talent that is attracted away by Singapore and now China, US, of course. So our number of engineers that are able to serve the industries is not enough. And MIDA and MITI does a fantastic job in attracting now some high quality companies. The recent one, we have LAM Research, which is a fab manufacturing equipment. And then we have Dexcom for medical device. And we have those top companies. But attracting more and more these companies means that we need more scientists and engineers. We just don't have enough. That's why I advocate to the government that we need to use other people's talent. We need to allow engineers who are at least studying in Malaysia, who are doing masters or doing even getting top grades in their BSc or Bachelor of Engineering to join the industry. But today they are not allowed. Okay, they are not allowed to do that. So we lose that talent to, even after they study here, we lose it to other countries. So that's one of the issues. Meanwhile, we are trying to advocate to the universities that you need to start looking at what the technology in the industry that are moving, and the university need to catch up, okay, with the new curriculum. That's why we are trying to incorporate some of the curriculum into the university. Today, we are doing programs that are what I call post-school finishing program, that after you graduate, we do another 2-3 months of training in specific engineering subjects for the industry that industry are really interested in. And then we place them into the industry, okay? So we are trying to take this career and put it into the university, but that one is going to take some time. So far, we have only 7 universities interested. 2 is going to incorporate all the programs that we recommended, but then this is going to take some time. So I think to get the university to be aligned with the industry will require, I think, a lot of effort, because the university system need to be changed, the KPI need to be changed, and so on. So I think there are quite a lot of things to do. But meanwhile, we need to do interventions, and do things that we think we can do that will help the industry to move, because the industry cannot wait for you. And so we got to keep getting the talents trained for the industry.
Well, you're absolutely right. I think, I'm on the board of Wawasan Open University, and I noticed we are not in your 7 universities. And but I became aware that it's very important for any universities, not just producing engineering graduates, but to get the accreditation that the employers want, because the employer, when they are hiring people, they want certain accreditation of certain skills, right? Now, it's not that the engineer, the graduate doesn't have that skill, but if the curriculum is not accredited, the employer won't be able to hire them. So, we really need to get the university to think about how to get the employers involved into the curricula, getting them involved in the teaching, and then producing the graduates that the employers want. This is very critical. And then later on, when the graduates, the faculties become better, they can then become the kind of a research and training, research and development to subcontract from the businesses. But of course, I totally agree with you. Malaysian universities are yet a little bit far away from that, although individual faculties are excellent,
Yes.
but the medium is not quite there. So how do you see you have very clearly looked at from the industry side, but I think getting anything done is not just a matter of supply and demand, but getting the organizations of the universities who have in the past worked in a very different manner, right? We inherited largely a very British type system in which the universities are separate from industry. How do you think we can break this through?
I think we are trying to do a few things. Number one is that the industry is trying to work with the universities on industry projects. Okay, that's number one. And number two is that we are trying to encourage lecturers to take the sabbatical and work in the industry. Okay, maybe a year or two. Okay, and we're also trying to encourage the government, like MOSTI, who have I know a lot of scientists in there, to encourage them to work in the industry just to get a feel of what the industry challenges are and what technology are they looking at, and the pace that they need to move forward. Okay, because sometimes in the university you're not worried about the time. In the industry they worry about time, the time to market, time to design, time to manufacturing, all that. They benchmark all the time in order to get the product out on time. So unless you get a feeling of how industry moves, it's very hard that when you're in the university trying to do a project that may not be time limited. Okay, so if you can get some of this exposure to the lecturers, then I think that'd be fantastic. I think that's the way to get it done.
Right. So it's a matter of organization, right?
Yes.
And finding the right platform in order to get this fusion of networks of skills that can come together to bring what industry wants and business wants, and also fit the national objectives of raising the quality of the industry, quality of the education, and quality of the civil service. So in a sense, it's what I call the ABC. We need to get the academia, the business, and the civil service to work together as a team, rather than each in their individual silos, right? So from your experience, is it possible to get working professionals, engineers in the industry to become part-time lecturers in the universities to lecture on this subject, as well as to second your idea to second scientists working in government to work in the business sector? So we rotate people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is already ongoing.
Right.
Some companies do more than others.
Right.
To get their engineers to go and do lectures, to the final year students, especially on industry topics. But I think the only issue here is that unless it is, I call it a subject that is graded, where the university student says that, hey, if it's not graded, I might just don't pay enough attention to it. Yeah, I will attend, but it's not very serious. They don't take it seriously. But somehow it needs to be integrated such that becomes like a elective, that you sign up and then it's computed as part of your course program, that is right. Graded.
Right.
So that way, I think, yes, you can do that. But normally it is not enough. Okay, it's not enough. We got to think of a way to do more.
Yeah, one of the things that very clearly, right, there is a major, I wouldn't say complaint, but I would say that a lot of businesses, the electronic companies I've talked about, is that they can't get enough engineers at the moment. When they want to ramp up, they can't get enough engineers, and so the result is they have to hire foreign engineers, right? And so it becomes clear that Malaysian universities need to upgrade, ramp up very fast, right? And when you have a very big talent pool, of course we will lose talent elsewhere. Now, there's nothing wrong if a Malaysian goes into Intel, like yourself, gets sent abroad, and then you later on bring the talent, the skills and experience back, right? That's not an issue. The real issue is that if we don't continually infuse the knowledge, we will never upgrade in this regard. So it strikes me that in this age of digitization, the advantage of the university is that it can network with different universities, right? So you mentioned Aachen University, right? So suppose a local university tie up with foreign universities in Japan, in Germany, in Sweden, everywhere you can think of, and then they can lecture, in fact, through Zoom, exactly, right? Online. And so at least, and then there is a work study program in which these engineers then can become the interns for the factories here. It will have a continual, upgrading of skills. So it's
that's a good idea.
It's a
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. I'm hoping that the Wawasan Open University will be able to do this. That in fact, I was lecturing to the Young Scholars Program of the Institute for New Economic Thinking, which had about 3,000, 4,000 people on that webinar. And there were, for example, young postgraduates from Holland, suddenly coming up to me and say, we would like to work with you. Now that means that actually, if the universities can link with these universities, so that at the professorial level, on research projects as well as teaching projects, and if the professors here are working with the industry here, then they can say, well, we've got this very interesting project that we really want to upgrade, right? Without releasing intellectual property rights. Then we get enthusiastic teams working on not just the teaching, but all the R&D for the industry as a whole. So it really is a matter about building the platforms for this to work effectively. Correct?
Yes. I think this is an excellent idea. And
how do we network? I mean, I'm sorry I was not aware of it, but the idea that the 7 universities are already linking to your training program. So perhaps what we should do, try to get the universities, the faculties that are involved to work together rather than competing with each other, trying to, kind of in a sense, pinch each other's staff or whatever.
Yeah.
Literally work together and build the faculties as well as the students, on an upgrade basis.
Yeah, I think like what you said, each university maybe have a certain competency and expertise in each of the subject.
Exactly.
And they can actually become the lecturer for all the universities for that particular subject and just share.
Exactly.
Then we don't have to try to develop so many people who are not ready yet. So if one or two are ready, we just go with this one while the others train.
Yeah,
there are many things that need to be done. You see, for example, in IC design, which is what we were doing just now. You see the curriculum, try to incorporate it into the university.
Right.
You see, other universities around the world, when they do IC design, they actually design a product. Okay, they produce a wafer. So they go through the whole process of design to coming out with a product, and then you can check and see whether your design actually work. In Malaysia, our university, not a single university actually do that. Okay, so when our students come out, they have never had the experience of wait, what are the difficulties and challenges do I need to do? Do I face to go through the whole process? And so we are trying to tell the universities that, hey, these are some of the things that you got to get incorporated. But to incorporate this alone it is not easy. First of all, you need to get all the lecturers up to speed that, hey, this is the way forward. And so that's why we come in and try to do the training and get the lecturers up to speed.
Well,
so in Taiwan, they have this already. Taiwan, all the universities are doing
yes.
it.
Well, I know. I mean, different countries do it very, very differently, right? Because the Taiwan universities have a long engineering tradition. Firstly, secondly, they are fairly closely knit with each other.
Yes.
Right. And because the semiconductor industry is so important to Taiwan, and they have now become world leader, as you know, with TSMC and many others. They develop their own ecosystem. Our ecosystem is like a garden in which certain plants are very strong, but other supporting plants are not quite there yet, right? So we're not feeding into that ecosystem perfectly.
We need to build that ecosystem. I mean, I don't
absolutely
know how.
Right. Absolutely right. I was just listening to a lecture by Ren Zhenfei, who is the chairman of Huawei. And his Huawei University is not a university. He's actually his training college, his training department, his what he called the strategic reserve team, and then the campus itself. So he just calls it the Huawei University campus, but actually it's a network of the training department, which uses the Huawei's own engineers to be lecturers, right, for their staff training programs. And then what he does, this is really, I find very interesting. What he does is to use these graduates of the HR program, put them into the strategic reserve team. And what they do is actually, it's like a marine training program. He sent them to Guizhou. They have to practice by taking a base station, completely components, carry it up the mountain, assemble it, and then bring it back down again. And if something goes wrong, they have to learn how to fix it almost in the Ulu area, in the rural areas, right? And that trains, number one, team spirit. Number two, initiative, because you have to think very hard, in very different environments. And number three, apply your skills, right?
Yes.
So to a large extent, the whole issue for Malaysia is how do we actually network our different areas of expertise that are in pockets all over the country into an ecosystem to serve the whole E&E industry, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We're not there yet, but
we are not there. Yes.
Yeah, we're not there yet, and we can't expect the government under this very difficult COVID period to give money to everybody. So what we now need to do is to get the private sector to work on this. And I think the private sector is willing to respond because we all see that the future of our children and our ecosystem, particularly such an important industry like the E&E industry in Malaysia, needs to be nurtured, right? I looked at your numbers, which is very, very good. Your industry support 560,000 workers, in Malaysia. And that's not a small number, right?
Yes.
And if we upgrade that skills, it will bring in higher income. And it's exactly that higher income that will allow us to enable Malaysians graduates to move up to a middle income and higher income class. So that is superb.
Yeah, I think you gave me a wonderful idea just now that you said you read your outreach to 3,000-4,000 students or whatever in your talk.
Yes.
And I think we can do the same thing with industry engineers who are
That's right.
competent in a specific subject, and can tell all the students in all the universities in Malaysia, public and private, say that we're going to have this talk, come, for this specific engineering topic or the other topic, whatever topic, and our outreach will be further. So hopefully by the time they come out, they have a better appreciation about what the challenges are in the industry versus what they are doing in the university. I'll take on that idea.
Yeah, I have my networks, right? I used to know the Berlin Technical University very, very well, because I was the international advisor. for a few years, right? I mean, but most of my links, because of my finance background, are to financial faculties, more economics and finance faculties, less to the engineering ones. But I think, we've now reached a time, particularly because of COVID, that we can now, try to network all the faculties, with the industries, right? And the different faculties. And as long as we are able to network it, we do not need to reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
I mean, in the sense that the curricula, once we have a core curricula, then we can farm out this, in Hungarian university, you're very good in this. In Taiwan university, you're very good in that. How about us working together? Because, our graduates can be to service everybody, right? So
yes.
And then, am I correct that because somebody from Intel, Dell, was telling me that the accreditation is actually a US accreditation, right, for certain types of testing engineers. Am I correct?
I'm not sure which testing.
The idea is for certain accreditation, if we get that standard, then the curriculum is standard.
Yeah.
And therefore the training materials, could be written and designed so that they meet the accreditation standards, right?
Yes. This is something like Microsoft and so on. They have their own standards.
That's right.
If you study, go through their program, you will achieve certain accreditation. Yeah.
Right.
So more in the software area. Yeah.
Right. Particularly in the software area.
Yeah.
So that's what we now need to zero in, so that the accreditation fits in then with the degree program, so that they not only, when an undergraduate comes out and be interviewed, you would be able to see, they have fitted my needs on, software, on writing, and on testing, and, all these issues.
Yeah, if you do this, you're one step ahead.
Well, we're definitely not there, but
but if you can do this, you're one step ahead, because then the industry will love it.
Well, this is where I think, Dato Sri, you play a very important role, in my view, right? Networks can only function if you have, today is not a good term, it's called a super spreader, but you're the super spreader of the ideas.
Yes.
Your ideas, if, you have the ideas, but how do we implement these ideas across different platforms, each of which have their own interests and their own private quirks, put it this way.
Yes.
Right. But the minute we network it together, then the ecosystem can flow, right?
Yes.
So what we need, with somebody like you, is to talk to industry, and then we organize the academics together. And how do we get them to actually marry the curricula, between the business and academia? That's the heart of the issue, right?
Yeah, we have to find a solution. We have to take it up.
I totally agree with
how
you.
to do it.
Yeah, it is frustrating, because every organization have their own quirks. And until you get on the same page or the same platform, it's very difficult to push through these barriers. Right?
It will be easier for the industry to deliver their topics from the industry point of view to the university students, rather than trying to get the university lecturers to go reach out to the other universities. That one, I think we need a lot more discussion. Even for them to adopt our industry curriculum already is not so straightforward.
Well, I'm a great believer in let the market work, right? And letting the market work, from my own experience, is removing barriers rather than creating barriers.
Yes.
Okay. So how do we remove those barriers? I think this I have to praise the Malaysian government. They have been working at it very hard, right? But there are still issues that I think the education department is now very, very supportive, right? And then, of course, as you say, the Ministry of Industry are all very supportive of this. from your presentation, it becomes very clear that the Malaysian government wants to do the right thing.
Yes.
And therefore, what we now need is for the universities and businesses to talk. So perhaps our next program, if I can, is to get a webinar in which we get some of the top business people and some of the top universities people, maybe even the 7 universities to begin with, or some representative of the 7 universities, to sit down and see how we can work together, right?
Sure. I think that's a good one to have a dialogue and see how to move forward.
Yeah, because you see, the point is that this is in everybody's interest. If you are a German company working in Malaysia, you would want your students, your graduates, to match your German standards. So it makes sense for Malaysian universities to link up with a German technical training program, right? Similarly, with Japan, with Sweden, with somebody else, right? And in software area, there are many places that produce excellent software engineers, not just India. There are many Eastern European countries that I know that produce superb software engineers, right?
Yeah.
So if we can draw on all these, it will be a major way forward, right?
Yes, I think so. I think so. But just now I touched on the 3 groups: the top one, the middle, and the lower end engineers. You see, the lower engineers are the one that the industry do not want to hire.
Right.
So what I have done, actually experimented 2 years ago. I trained 121 of such engineers. The industry says, I'm not going to hire you. Right. I train them, and 3 to 6 months. And then after that, I put them back to the industry. All of them got a job,
Great.
Which means that they have the capability to learn.
But
somewhere along the line, I'm not sure whether they are studying or they are not paying attention or whatever. I don't know what the reason is. But the industry just find that there are 2 skills that are weak. One is the soft skill,
right?
The communication skill,
right.
And particularly English. And 2 is technical skills. So when we zoom in on the technical skills, on what the industry need, don't worry about so many other subjects. Just zoom in on this few, and then work on their soft skill, especially their attitude.
Right.
We got them through to all the interviews. So, and there are 80% of them hired by MNCs. It's not like only the SMEs are hiring them. So it shows that, yeah, we have a post, school finishing,
right. Right.
We are upskilling them, through the curriculum of the industry. And after that, the industry say, okay, I accept you. But you see, that is the issue that we face. So while we say we get more and more industry and industry are growing, but we need to match them with the right amount, the supply need to match the demand. That's why earlier you mentioned that it's for some companies, the opportunities are just gone because they couldn't get the engineers in time to support what they want. So the project just goes away. Otherwise, we would have grown a lot faster than where we are.
Absolutely. I mean, there are many, it's very much a last mile problem. You can get the thing done, but somehow the last mile, you can't get it right. So, for example, there is no shortage of young graduates coming out, for example, in East Malaysia, where I come from, right? But when we talk to them, they said that, well, for me to come from East Malaysia to work in West Malaysia, I worry about education. I mean, not education, I worry about accommodation, I worry about standards of living, there's a cultural adaptation, right? So there are little issues that we now need to, make sure, so that when the universities and the businesses work together in a work study type program, in which the students become the interns at the businesses, and then after, because they are interns, the business has the advantage to be able to see whether these guys are good or bad, right? Yes. I mean, so and the kids, the young people have also got a chance to see that, oh, this is not a kind of a old sweatshop idea of an assembly line, right? Mm-hmm. In fact, what I was very impressed when I came back to Penang, to see that actually the high quality the high skills needs of the E&E industry in Penang. Not the old, this is a, sort of not air-conditioned assembly line, everybody working at cheap labor, to make clothes or something like that. This is a very modern, right, attractive jobs. But if they want engineers and they want high-skilled trained labor, we have a lot of young graduates. As we all know in Malaysia, some of them spend up to 6 months trying to get a job when they qualify,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And until we reskill them, as what you have done, we will not be able to match the supply with the demand.
That's right. Tan Sri, the China, okay,
Yes,
has started IC University.
right.
Okay, they have started AI Academy, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And exactly
right.
what I think Huawei
Huawei.
is doing.
Yes.
Okay. So even though in theory, we should rely on the university to do that last mile, you call it.
Yes.
But they are not able to do it, even in China. Okay, so they have to come up with a very specific goal called IC University or IC Academy.
Right.
And that's what I'm recommending to the government, that you need to have that until and when the university is ready. If not, you continuously need this, so that since the technology moves so fast, last time was 3 years, become 2 years, 18 months, 1 year, and some of them are only 6 to 12 months. It's already changed. And if you are not able to keep up, then you have to have this academy versus a university, because the academy are all short courses, few months, 6 months or so, and then you're out to the industry. So versus the university, you're going to take 4 years, you see. So we may have to look at this strategy to help the industry with the right talent, sharpen their training to fit the use of industry. That's why I'm trying to tell the government, you must have a holistic talent strategy, which includes scholarship program. That you need to tailor your scholarship program towards the needs of industry, not just, okay, everybody have equal share, doctors, engineers, economists, psychologists, whatever. But you got to tailor your program into what the needs of industry. So anyway, this one will take time. This is just all ideas. When you come to execution, it takes time. It takes time for people to adjust, change mindset, and really see that there is real benefit to the problem if you make changes to your talent strategy.
Yeah, this is excellent. I mean, my favorite quotation is vision without execution is delusion, right? I mean, a lot of people have great vision, but they can't execute, right?
Yes.
And you see the successful countries, they don't have high profile visions, but they just deliver. I mean, Taiwan is a very example of this, right? They don't talk too much, they just deliver. They get all the engineers together, put them into one room, and then they come up with a solution. So South Korea's done that, China's done that. So now our real challenge is, how do we organize that resources that we have to execute, right? That is the last mile issue that we have. Yeah,
that's exactly what we need to do. We need to get all these resources together and then think about how to implement this idea.
Well, I think we're running short of time, but what I really want to do, Dato Sri, is to thank you for your vision, your energy, and your ability to execute. This comes from your long experience. I think this is very, very critical. And you've also given me many ideas on what the university should be doing, right? We can no longer use the old ideas. Well, I'm a university, I just teach, and then the jobs take care of themselves. You just take the jobs. What we really need to do now is to adapt to the fast changing environment, and maybe work, instead of calling it a faculty, we call it an academy, right? Where that we are not producing pure graduates, but really the academy that actually produces all the skills that the industry needs very, very fast, right?
Yes.
And not just industry, of course. We must also serve the small businesses and how do we network these together is the crucial issue. So that's very, very good. I think Dato Sri, it was a real pleasure meeting you and hearing straight from you as an industry leader, representing the Malaysian E&E industry in AmCham, right? And your vision of what we should be doing. And let us work together between you representing industry and we representing, the universities, how we can network this together to create the Malaysians' next generation E&E. Okay.
Thank you for a good conversation.
Yeah, thank you. That's an excellent conversation. I really enjoyed it and wish you all the best. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.